Ryan Satin from Pro Wrestling Sheet has gotten into a series of ongoing internet-related beefs, arguments, verbal scraps with one Disco Inferno. This one's been smoldering for weeks, and now it's time for Ryan Satin and Disco Inferno to have their long-awaited discussion on women's wrestling.
Yeah,
Ryan, I got a question. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I got a question. I'll just change the subject to topic just slightly here. I tweeted last night because I'm watching Naomi, and she's an EDM character, right?
Like electronic dance music for those not in the know.
Electronic, so whatever it is, okay? And
just goes to
hipsters. And I tweeted, I go, Naomi should be wearing more revealing clothing. Okay, has anybody that's ever been to EDC or seen these pictures? But the girls dress like they're not wearing long sleeves. You know, like an outfit. Like, bro, she's covered up way too much. Of course, the fans got all over me. You know, I can't. You know, you're demeaning the women and stuff.
Yeah, you can't just say you think a girl should be wearing less clothing on TV.
Well, listen, and this is my point.
Wait a minute. This is also Ryan. This is also the same guy that said on this podcast that he'd rather see, instead of women's wrestling, girls rolling around in their underwear in the ring. So just take that into account.
I was going to say, also your opinion isn't really as valid here since you work in a strip club and you're in such an environment where where nudity isn't a thing to use.
It's a very simple question. Okay, I want a very basic answer. What is wrong with wanting the girls that look attractive to accentuate their sex appeal more? What is wrong with that?
It's not there's anything wrong with that, but it's.
I'm just letting her wear more revealing clothing. She has long sleeves on. The other girl she's working against has a, you know what I mean? If she's hot, show your body a little bit.
But what were the fans saying? What did they tell you? Like, what was the main thing they were hot about?
Said, you can't say that. You can't, you're demeaning the girl. The workers, the girl's work rate is so much better these days. And I'm like, I tweet out, I don't care what anybody thinks. I go, if you have a swimsuit, if you advertise a swimsuit contest next week on Raw with all the girls, it's going to be one of the highest rated shows we've had all year. Okay,
it's not about that. It's a different time. Like, times have changed.
What's wrong with that?
It's not this. What's wrong with that is that they're trying to treat women as equals to the men, and that's a way to set them back 15 years. Disco, like, what are you talking about?
But maybe
Disco, the women. No. Hold on. Hold on.
He's shooting now.
You know what you're saying is absolutely ludicrous and fucking stupid. And you're saying it just to get a rise out of people because that is one of the craziest.
No, bro. Ryan, he does believe that. No.
Listen, I know you. Listen, Ryan, you want them to be equal. Okay, let me tell you something.
Can I say something, Di?
Let me say real quick. I don't care what universe we live in. The girls will never be better workers than the guys. Okay, the guys just look more athletic.
So there's no women that can ever be better than any of them. No, I'm trying. Wait. No. I'm trying to clarify real fast. You're saying there's no woman, not one, that could be equal to any man on the roster?
No. Here's what I'm saying. It's
just what you just said.
Bro, it's like women's basketball, women's soccer, women's saying they're not as athletically. They can't do the athletic things that the guys can do.
I can name more famous American soccer players that are women than men.
What is it now?
Because the women's soccer team was better.
Yeah, I can name more famous women's soccer players than I can men because the women's soccer team is way better than the men and way more famous. So things like that, you're just saying because you don't know. You're literally just talking out your ass.
Ryan, nobody watches women's soccer unless it's the Olympics.
Are you fucking crazy?
Nobody watches
Morgan
WNBA.
Alex Morgan is in Nike commercials and actual big brands as the face of their brand because she's 10 times bigger than any male soccer player that's ever been in American soccer. You're crazy.
That's for your argument's ridiculous. Okay, the woman first of all will never have a show with all women and only one male match. Okay, that'll never happen in wrestling because nobody will watch it. You'll never have like a.
First of all, there are women's promotions that do have there have been huge promotions that were all women's companies that were huge in Japan, and there's two out here.
That's apples. You can't compare Japan to America. Listen, women could advance past men if they were allowed to show their athleticism and their sexuality. If all we're going to do is just advance their athleticism,
you're saying
no way they're going to compete with men.
The only way that any woman on the roster can be on par with any of the men is if they allow themselves to be more sexually vulnerable or
no.
show their body.
No. I'm not saying like, okay, but there's a balance between Sable and Charlotte Flair that we could meet in the middle. Okay, we're too much like, bro. Like I'm saying, like Naomi's out there. She's the champ now. And she's covered like almost from neck to wrist in clothing. And I'm like, I don't care if she's a good worker. I mean, like, you know, the work is marginal, but it's average. These girls are average workers.
You were wearing
I'm not watching the work.
Disco, I watch old WCW when I go to bed at night. I've seen some of your stuff that helped me go to sleep, and you are wearing bright neon vests and long pants, which is way different than most wrestlers. You're in the ring wearing fucking bell bottoms and shit, when most wrestlers wear like little tights in the ring and stuff. So how could you, a guy who didn't wear a tiny amount of clothing, like most wrestlers do, be putting down a woman because she's wearing more clothing to make herself stand out a little bit?
Because she's an EDM character. If you go to EDC, she needs to look like a girl that goes to that you would see at EDC. It's that simple. Okay, like, I mean, if the other girls like Nia Jax,
I've been to EDC and I've seen tons of girls that aren't running around
if you go to one of those concerts, also have I, and I've actually, and so you're gonna see both. You're gonna see girls that are scantily clad, and then you're gonna see girls with stuff like what she was wearing that glows in the dark and all that other neon stuff that they like to wear. But I think the only thing is, I think that, you know, what Disco's saying is that sex sells, so why not make them a little sexier?
Right. And we're saying we can't sell sex ever. And I'm saying
not saying it's the worst thing.
Sometimes.
I'm not saying if that's a choice they make that it's bad for them to do that. What I'm saying, look at Nikki Bella. I'm a huge fan of Nikki Bella, and she's not wearing tons of clothes in the ring and stuff. Most of the girls aren't wearing tons of clothes in the ring. But to act like what Disco is saying is not. I'm not gonna say offensive. You know what? A shitty word to say. It's just such a shitty thing to say.
I don't care. I don't care about that. I don't care if it's a shitty thing to say, but it's true. Sex sells. Okay,
but I wanted to tell you something that happened with me, and I don't know if this happened before, when other girls were like more scantily clad. You know, I was just distracted during the whole show, and now that like they've covered themselves up and there's not really anything to get distracted, you can kind of appreciate the matches more. And there are better workers, but I myself don't feel that there's anything wrong either with girls being a little sexier for ratings. You know,
and I'm not saying, all I'm saying, that's not the argument. What I'm saying is that Disco sounds like a very male chauvinistic prick when he says to a woman of success.
Bro, he admits it 100%.
I know. Then he says to a woman of success that the only way she can be equal to a man is if she also shows off her tits a little bit. Like, that is just such an offensive thing to say. It's just like, you know, I mean, like, that's the bottom line.
Might be, but there's a lot of evidence that points to it. Sable was one of the highest draws on the show.
Except Naomi has, almost 1 million followers on Twitter.
But Miss Elizabeth also changed the game.
I feel like with her having 1 million followers on Twitter, almost 1 million followers on Twitter, and you having 10,000, I feel like that she doesn't need your advice on how to be relevant and how to be famous right now. Like, clearly she's doing pretty well.